John Hartwell, he's the athletic director for Utah State University, joins us now here in the Full Court Press. John, thanks for your time today.
Hey, John.
Sure thing, guys. How are you?
We're good. We're ready for the weekend.
Absolutely.
John, this has been a crazy 2 months, and my first question for you, because there's another school doing something like this today. We're seeing this around the country where certain coaches and even athletic directors are taking pay cuts or pay reductions. They're offering it voluntarily to help out with their budgets and things like that. Has anything like that happened yet, or is it being discussed that it might happen at Utah State?
Yeah, we are working on some different scenarios that involve compensation and primarily around incentive opportunities that our coaches get or have the ability to earn. And so there are some ongoing conversations on that as it relates to our entire budget. And, one of the things that as we, have been, like you said, for about 2 months into the whole COVID-19, clearly the financial aspects from our athletic department have been, a front burner item of a lot of my time, a lot of some of our administrators' time, and our head coaches too, just trying to project exactly what this is going to do for us, from a revenue perspective. And you've got multiple facets that it impacts. What's it going to do to season ticket sales? What's it going to do to philanthropic giving? What's it going to do to enrollment at the university that has a direct correlation on our student fees? What's it going to do in the future as it relates to Mountain West Conference and NCAA distribution of money? So all of those things in there, but kind of our overarching guideline that we've tried to do is to say, okay, we're going to try to protect three things, and that would be our sports. So, as you've seen some examples around the country of people eliminating sports, that is not, under consideration for us. So sports, scholarships, and salaries or jobs, are the three things that we've tried to protect, and obviously not, we want to maintain full scholarships and all the sports that we sponsor, and then trying to protect folks' employment too. And but we are looking at some concepts as it relates to some potential budget savings from incentive pay for coaches and for myself as well.
Mr. Hartwell, great news that came out of Utah State Athletics today is that 68 student athletes were able to receive their degree. One of them was named a valedictorian, had a 4.0 GPA while double majoring, no big deal there. And then you guys had a graduation success rate of 94%, cumulative GPA of 3.24. 70 student athletes are now all academic Mountain West honors, which is incredible. When you guys and when your coaches are out recruiting, I would imagine that a lot of it at least some of it, would be focused on, hey, look, you're not only going to be a great athlete at a great university, but you're going to have a chance to get your degree at Utah State. You're going to be a successful student as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The academic success is our pinnacle, and that's the first thing that we talk about. It's not always what gets the headlines, but it's the first thing that we want to talk about. And like you mentioned, the 94% graduation success rate, and the young men and women who have graduated this May. As with everything right now, a little different. Unfortunately, they don't get to walk across the stage and be presented their diploma right now, but they will get those diplomas. And that's, to me, that's the greatest victory that any student athlete at Utah State can attain is getting that degree. Because at the end of the day, that's going to be what propels them to their successes, for the rest of their life. Obviously, the athletic successes that they have and the experience is great, and they'll never forget those. Those will last a lifetime too. But the education and what opportunities it allows them to have going forward, are their greatest accomplishment. And the tribute at the end of the day, the work is done by our student athletes, and I commend them for their hard work and dedication and being so successful in the classroom. But you've also got to give a lot of success or a lot of credit for the success to our coaches who emphasize academics, as well as to Justice Smith and his entire staff in our academic support area. They do an outstanding job, and again, the last 2 months have been different, and they've done most tutoring sessions and their check-ins with our student athletes virtually and online, and done a tremendous job in that. And again, that to me, that's the number one success, regardless of the Mountain West Championships and All-Americans and all of those things that are wonderful. And, we want to continue doing those, but the academic success is, first and foremost.
Again, we're talking to John Hartwell. He's the Director of Athletics for Utah State University. And, John, we've seen some university presidents, governors in other states saying that if we are not having students on campus, we are not having sports. Have you had similar conversations with President Cockett, or what does that look like projected out right now for Utah State University?
Yeah, and obviously those conversations continue every day, whether at the university level, Mountain West level, across our peers at other NCAA institutions. And I'm a glass half full guy. I'm an eternal optimist, and I think it's probably going to look different, but I'm encouraged, especially with some of the things you see about breakthroughs in vaccines and more readily available testing and all of those things here over the course of the last week or so, and hopefully that trend continues, and we are able to have our sports start either on time or close to on time come the fall. So I think it's going to be different, but I think the opportunity is there, and I think that sports are important for our society as a whole. I mean, obviously, people getting back, us getting people back to jobs where they have either lost or been laid off is of utmost importance to help jumpstart our economy. But I think from a social aspect, there's a huge void out there with the lack of live sporting events. And, as you see a handful of these come back, I was just reading something a little bit ago about, and I may have this backwards, but I think it's Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning are going to play Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady in a golf match. That ought to be entertaining, to say the least.
Yes.
But I think folks all over are clamoring for the return to sports just as soon as we can.
How catastrophic would it be if you could have some college football games but not any non-conference football games?
Yeah, I think that would be a really tough situation. I'll say right off the bat, and as we've gone through a bunch of financial scenarios and looked at some budget cuts and things like that, I'll tell you right off the bat, the game week 3 in Seattle against the University of Washington. I mean, that's $1.5 million for us. If that were to go away, obviously we'd have a huge hole there. So I think it's important to play all of those games. I do think you're going to see the influence going forward for some people it to be more regional in their scheduling opportunities. But again, I'm hopeful that we can play all the contests, all 12 regular season football games, and hopefully a 13th for a Mountain West championship game and a 14th for a bowl game starting in September.
Do you feel like it would be suitable for at least the season to be able to start without fans?
I think you could very well see a modified number of fans with some social distancing. But, and we're talking about some of those scenarios right now. But I think the fans are such an important aspect of the game. And probably first and foremost are the students of Utah State. They are heard as such a significant home field advantage for us, or home court advantage. And, we're talking through scenarios right now from a social distancing perspective about what that would look like with fans and obviously in football to start, but then on even into our winter sports with men's and women's basketball.
Have there been conversations with the Mountain West about potential staggered schedules? Maybe some conferences would start sooner than others or later than others, but still be able to have some semblance of a season, even if it doesn't start as we would traditionally expect it to start?
Not so much, because even within individual conferences, you've got schools in so many different states. I mean, we have 3 California schools with San Jose, Fresno, and San Diego State all in our league. So folks are dealing, there's a different set of parameters and restrictions as it relates to our individual states. And so I do think you're going to have to see some uniformity to when people start, maybe not from a conditioning perspective, but in terms of number of practices and games. Because, again, if you did that on a conference basis, it would make sense in conference play. But if you're playing, out of conference and, let's go back to the example we were using about the University of Washington. And let's say, if they were able to play 2 games before they played us, but that was our first game, that would obviously be a competitive disadvantage to us there. So I think, the one thing that's been really good about this, and this is not just in collegiate athletics, but I think across our society, is trying to manage the whole situation and deal with all the scenarios. There have been great lines of communication, like I said, within our athletic department, within the university, within the Mountain West Conference, other state institutions here in Utah, and across the NCAA. So, I'm still very hopeful and very optimistic about a collaborative effort, and which hopefully will lead to a somewhat of a uniform start time.
Well, these are unique times. It's unique situations, and I know there's a lot of different ideas that are being thrown around, and all we can do really is just continue to wait to see how things are trending. But we do appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us, at least illuminating what the discussions are going on up here at Utah State in our little corner of the world. So appreciate your time and appreciate the insight.
Sure thing, guys. Thanks for having me on, and I think we speak for us all, and we will be very glad and hopeful here within the next 4 months when the Aggies are back on the various fields of play.
Absolutely. Thanks, John. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, John.
Thank you all.